If you want to support the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Tricks Ridiculous back with another video, and in this one we're talking about Deadpool, the first DLC character for Marvel's Midnight Suns, and how to best build him. Before we do, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Midnight Suns content, but otherwise let's jump right into it. Now, Deadpool is a high DPS character, probably one of the highest in the game. He is absolutely an absolute machine, and I think a lot of maybe other people playing Deadpool, maybe even other content creators might not agree with me, but I think he's definitely an S tier character, and I don't just say that because he's a new character. I think with all of the right stuff, I think he is actually an S tier character. I think he is absolutely one of the highest DPS, if not the highest DPS in the game. Now, the only thing about him, when you think of DPS characters, who do you really have, right? You have Iron Man, right? And then you have like Ghost Rider and Blade. And like Blade sucks. Like Deadpool is what I think Blade should have been, right? And Iron Man, obviously he's a good character. He's, definitely S tier. But he's just kind of a lazy man's character, right? You just do the air superiority, it just hits everything, and that's the end of it, right? And they've already announced that that is a little overtuned. They're going to bring that down. But I think Deadpool, if you play him right, it'll take a few more clicks, so to speak, but you can still get missions done in just the same amount of turns as you could, with him being your primary DPS versus Iron Man being your primary DPS. It just won't come in one all-encompassing card, right? You kind of have to work through your targets one by one. Now, I don't have him exactly the way I want to have him. I did not get early access to him, so I've been grinding it out. But I can tell you how I would play him. Now, people kind of think he's maybe more of like a DPS / tank hybrid, and that is kind of true. He does have a lot of tankiness. His Staying Alive passive is one of the best passives in the game, at least for a tank. He gets 103 health each turn, plus an additional 34 health for each Enfuego. Now, that's just what I have him at now. That scales. That's a percentage base. So it's actually 15% of your total health here, which, as you know, when you go up in champion ranks, you get 5 more every rank. So it's 15%, no, I'm sorry, 20% of that with an extra, or maybe it's 15. I think it's 15% of that with an extra 5% for each Enfuego stack, and you can get up to 5 Enfuego stacks, okay? So that's a lot of health. Now, you do lose 1 Enfuego stack every time you get hit, so obviously if you take a couple of hits, you're not going to heal as much back up, but that is a lot more healing than any other character has, right? So definitely a pretty solid passive, and through some of his tank style cards, he can gain quite a bit of resist, which isn't bad either. So we are going to take a little bit advantage of that, but for the most part, we really just care about his DPS and clearing the board as quickly as possible. Okay, now when you look at this deck here, every single one, and I'll just kind of show you all of his cards, every single one of his damage dealing cards, with the exception of the one Spread the Love, the one that has chain, and the one that has an AoE, every other damage dealing card he has can roll with the quick modifier, and that does include his Midnight Suns heroic card. So every single card, every single DPS card he has can be a refunded card play. All right, that's what you want to aim for, obviously. As far as his skills go, he only has the 2 skills. He has All Together Now and Hey F Face. Hey Blank Face can roll with free. You do want it with free. I personally would not run too many of this card. Unfortunately, you really can only run 4 attacks, right? And then I don't think Mag Dump is super good. It's okay, it's just not great. So personally, I only run Burning Sensation, but I basically would run, 1 Hey Blank Face with a free modifier, and then for his attacks, I would try to get as many quick attacks as you can. Now, obviously, if you're having trouble rolling them, you can just use Quick Shot itself. I would definitely use this with the mod, which I have somewhere over here. One of 2 things. Either apply 1 marked, which is good. What you can do with that is you can hit one enemy that's a minion that you can definitely kill, and then chain it over to a larger enemy that you can now apply marked to, and then you can use a different attack on that enemy, and it'll essentially add you that kind of quick, right? Or you can do something like this one, which is just draw a card for each KO. That's very strong. Obviously, max 2 targets, so you could just take out 2 minions pretty quick and be able to build up your Enfuego stacks. What I would recommend, though, is Overpowered and Boom Headshot. These are his 2 best attacks, in my opinion. Death from Above is okay, but I don't think it's as good as Overpowered. I would much rather have Overpowered, especially for the knockback, and then even if you're knocking back into other allies and be able to kind of get more draws out of it. That's how I would do it. And then Boom Headshot is his highest, base DPS attack, and then it generates heroism, right? So you don't need to worry about heroism. Obviously, he's a very low heroism cost hero anyway, right? So you could definitely just get a decent amount of heroism just from that and from your Overpowered and just, playing a lot of quick attacks. And then I would run two all together nows, right? You're going to be getting a lot of Enfuego, so you're going to be able to draw a lot of cards. And then what this does is give you the next 2 ally abilities that KO enemies also count towards Enfuego, right? So Deadpool's not, he only has, so many attacks, right? You're going to have to rely on some, your allies doing a little bit of the work, right? But this will draw you a ton of cards, especially if you've already got some Enfuego. You cannot get this to roll with free. Any of the cards that draw cards cannot roll with free. So what I would recommend, you can do plus heroism. That's okay. You don't super need it if you're using 2 Boom Headshots. Plus 2 redraws is actually quite good. Because you notice when you're playing, in missions, you end up with a lot of, just chaff cards, a lot of hero combos that maybe you don't want, or just mission cards, interrogation cards, things like that. And if you're not really looking to get every single one of those done, adding redraws on something like an All Together Now is super good. That's a good mod on that. Other than that, though, that's really it. Like I said, I don't have him exactly the way I want it. I'm still rolling through a lot of stuff to try to get quick. But essentially, if you can get quick on 2 Overpowereds, I only have it on 1 right now, quick on 2 Boom Headshots, 2 All Together Nows, and then free on this, the Hey Blank Face, and then quick, you can also get quick on Burning Sensation, which is hard to do. I've been really trying to get that, but you can get it. So if you just get quick on all those, you're going to have an absolute destroyer on your hands. Absolutely, in my opinion, absolute S tier, if that's what you do. Now, obviously, you're going to want, with his friendship rankings and, training and all of that, kind of comes into play depending on, how strong you really want to make him. But definitely if you can really get a lot of crit attack and crit chance on him, that will scale really, really nicely with both Overpowered and the Burning Sensation, right? Because these essentially add damage, right? Burning Sensation is effectively doubles damage, but it doubles the base damage, right? So it doubles the damage and triples and quadruples all the way up to 5x if you have 5 Enfuego stacks, and that's all before determining if it's a crit, which can then be another 60% more damage on top of all of the extra multiplicative modifiers. And then if you even have something, you pair this with like a Doctor Strange who can add damage to all your attacks, you're going to be sitting very, very pretty. And then the way to play him is essentially you just go small to big, right? It's very straightforward. Obviously, once all of your attacks have quick, you kind of want to use your Overpowereds on the more minion type enemies, the things you can take out pretty easily, right? Use your Boom Headshots on the larger enemies, right? And then essentially use your Burning Sensation on like a single absolute gotta slay it target, right? And then as you work your way from, smallest to biggest, he does more and more damage and just becomes more and more powerful. You're going to absolutely be slaying everything. And like I said, as far as a DPS goes, he's very much an assassin. Pretty much all of his attacks, other than the one Pain Pinata, which I don't like, and the Spread the Love, which I don't like, every other attack is a single target attack. It just hits one thing, right? So he really is just massive damage to one target, and move on and just keep doing that, right? So when you do that, you're still going to clear the battlefield just as easily. It's just not going to be all in something like an air superiority or like a Hulk smash type of thing. But I think especially once like higher difficulties come out in this game, I think Deadpool is going to be an absolute staple hero in higher tier difficulties, especially dealing with very, very high health bar enemies. I've seen Burning Sensation go up as high as 20,000, right, damage. So obviously that it totally outnumbers anything that's currently in the game. Hardest difficulty, hardest bosses, no one even comes close to that number, right? So a little bit overkill, but still possible, right? And it's just a testament to how strong he is as DPS. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, still working on getting everything the way I want it to be. But it's pretty tricky with some of the re-rolling. So I wanted to just at least share how I plan to build him, so you guys have an idea how to build your Deadpools. And you can also do other things with him. You can make more of a tank build. That is totally possible as well if you really want to go. Another option you could do is you could double down on the Hey Bleep face. You could do things like taunt, right? You can do quick shot with taunt. So that way you can like get a kill and taunt the next large enemy near them. And then what you can really do to be spicy is get something like on KO gain concealed, right? So you can finish your turn with that after you've taunted a bunch of enemies with Hey Bleep Face, you've taunted people with quick shot, and then now you end your turn concealed. None of those enemies get to attack. So there's another type of tanky build you can do with him. Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm just going straight DPS because I feel like that's where he excels. But let me know how you're building your Deadpool down in the comments. This, in my opinion, is the best way to play him, and I've been having a lot of success just getting through all types of content with him. Like I said, just as much quick as you can. If you don't have everything, like I don't have everything right now, you could definitely just use quick shots like this. And like I said, just try to get them with either apply marked, which will be helpful for other cards that don't have quick, or draw a card on each KO. That's the better mod, assuming you have other quick cards. That way you can kind of refresh your hand by just killing minions and build up your Enfuego stacks before really hitting off some of these big card draws and big resistance and big single target damage with your burning sensation. But that is it. Let me know down in the comments. Again, be sure to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Join the Discord. All those links, all that good stuff. That's it for me, guys. Hope you're enjoying Deadpool. I'll see you in the next one.